Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream of the showcase. This is our school year internship. This is our showcase on personal genetics. And I'm June Bea, CEO of Bea Group. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. We are streaming live on YouTube. And so later on, this will also be on that channel for Bea Group. Uh, we are here with the personal genetics. We have interns who are showcasing what they've been working on for the last 12 weeks. Our interns are also alumni from our summer internship program. So these are seniors who worked with us in the summer and then decided to apply for another round of an internship during their school year, their senior year. So this was made possible with funding from the California Community College Chancellor's Office, CTE funding, working collaboratively with the Downey Unified School District. So we at Bea Group are so excited to share with you what our interns have been working on in the area of personal genetics. So I'm going to turn it over to Barb, who's going to then introduce our interns.
Hi, thanks so much, June. Okay, so personal genetics. This was inspired by the Personal Genetics Education Project out of the Harvard School of Medicine. And the goal of the Personal Genetics Education Project is to get these conversations going. So we are on the cutting edge of technology. It's changing every day, everything that we can do in and around genetics, and people, regular people, and even people who are scientists and up in it can't keep up. And we haven't really discussed the potential benefits or ramifications with everybody. So that's what this internship was about, inspired by that. These interns, Lorenzo and Julian, are going to share what they did in the conversations that they had with some people in their community about some of these issues. So with that, I'll introduce Lorenzo.
Hi everyone, my name is Lorenzo, and I chose to focus my project on DNA because as technology is always growing, we always jump on the latest trend, and we now have the ability to learn all these different things about our DNA. But I want to know if there's a point of no return, or a point where we go too far in learning things about our DNA or changing things about our DNA. Hi everyone, my name is Lorenzo Blankenship, and my goal with this video is to spark conversation amongst you and those around you. Then hopefully that conversation will grow and spread to others. People should have the right to learn whatever they want about their DNA because it is their own body. We'll revisit this statement after some brief background information, and I'll be asking some people what they think about it.
You can't constrict people from knowing what their heritage is, their DNA is. Stuff that's within their genetics that they want to know should be available to them.
Let's look at how DNA can not only affect your life, but also those around you, like family. Let's take a look at this example. I've discovered through DNA testing my father isn't my biological dad. What could you do with this newfound knowledge? And if you're in this person's shoes, what would you do?
I think I would probably not care as much because biological dad, I feel like, is just a term, but a father is another word to represent someone that actually cared for you.
Could you prevent disease with knowledge of your DNA? It may be impossible to prevent certain things from happening, but what if you could more efficiently treat or lessen the severeness? Let's take a look at heart disease, for example. If you don't know, heart disease is a term that encompasses many different conditions, such as coronary artery disease, or CAD for short. This decreases blood flow to the heart, which can lead to a heart attack. Did you know that a simple DNA test could give you a score revealing your genetic risk for heart disease? If you could prevent a disease with knowledge of your DNA, would you? And why?
I would try to prevent a disease with my DNA. Why would I? Because it's just obvious. I want to live longer. I don't want to suffer from a disease that I know it's going to happen to me.
So what are some other things that you can do with your DNA? Calculate your risk for different diseases, spark connections with different people that may share traits, or even personalized medicine. Let's focus on personalized medicine. Personalized medicine can be beneficial because it is informed by one's genetic code. It is capable of producing more specific care because of the information gained from viewing one's DNA. A possible consequence of using things like personalized medicine is the fear of genetic discrimination. However, the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, passed in 2008, forbids the use of genetic information in employment and health insurance.
That would be a double-edged sword, because some people could just like take advantage of that, but then other people could actually like benefit enormously from that, as like it will help them better than just like taking regular prescriptions that are like meant for everybody, and sometimes those prescriptions don't work all the time. So having personalized medicine based off your actual DNA would be like pretty useful for the person and save a lot of time and money.
We leave behind more DNA than you may think. Just think about all the trash we throw away. Did you know that the DNA on that trash can be used to identify a person's physical characteristics, facial structure, race, and even height? This information could prove very useful to the criminal justice system. But a question of privacy arises. Is privacy important when it comes to DNA used in the criminal justice system?
I believe it is somewhat private, but if the crime committed involves like something serious that's like needs genetics in order to prove someone of being a suspect or prove someone to be innocent, I believe it should be used, but it shouldn't be used in the wrong way, in which it takes advantage of the victim or the suspect.
I think through creating this project, my favorite part about it was doing the research, because, well, genuinely, I just kind of like doing research. So I think that was my favorite part. I think the most challenging part about doing this was, I think it was putting everything together, just finding the best way to put my research and create a script and just get people to answer my questions or come up with questions that weren't one-sided, because with genetics and technology and things like that, there's no real right or wrong answer. So with this video, I wanted to just give somebody's perspective on DNA, but like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. So hopefully I got you thinking about this topic. Julian.
Hi, my name is Julian, and my topic for this deep dive was DNA and gene editing, and more specifically with the focus on editing a child's genes and selecting their traits. I'm gonna share my screen and show my video.
Julian, do you have any audio if you want to unmute?
Yeah, you have to, yeah, there you go.
Gene editing. Should parents be able to choose the traits of their child? What is gene editing? Scientists use enzymes to add, remove, or replace genes in our DNA. Our genes are essential in determining our traits such as eye or hair color, height, skin color, etc. Certain genes also causes or increase the risk of contracting certain diseases. Using technology such as CRISPR-Cas9, scientists are able to alter genetic makeup. Gene editing is used in cancer research and the study of other diseases such as metabolic diseases, immune diseases, viral diseases, and many other types of diseases. Since certain genes are known to cause diseases, scientists try to target those genes and potentially remove them before a child is born. Gene editing could potentially bring forward a cure for diseases like cancer, at least help the world move toward a solution for cancer. It is in situations like these that genetic editing is widely supported. Other uses of gene editing. Another use of gene editing is to genetically modify our foods. Scientists can identify specific genes in the DNA of fruits that give it a certain taste. Using genetic modifying tools, they can remove certain genes and add new ones and alter the taste and potentially even the appearance of the fruit. The future of gene editing may discover a way for fruit, a vegetable, to end up tasting like meat. Altering genes to change the traits of our children. As gene editing became more known, parents began to wonder if it were possible to edit specific genes in their child's DNA and alter traits before they were born. Scientists could alter the genetic makeup of a child by introducing the desired genetic material into the embryo itself or into the sperm and or egg cells of the parents using gene editing tools. However, gene editing can be used to go as far as choosing the gender of the child, using gene editing to determine the sex of a child, and other physical traits such as height, hair color, or eye color has become increasingly crucial. Would you choose your child's traits? We wanted to get some more insight on the topic of gene editing, so we conducted multiple interviews to get the opinions of different people. We asked some questions along the lines of, do you think parents should be able to choose the traits of their child, such as eye color, hair color, or gender? Why or why not? Should parents be the ones to make this decision, or should the government have a say in making laws against gene editing? No, these questions were changed slightly after the first interview. Do you think parents should be able to, or should be allowed to select their children's traits such as eye color or skin color?
Okay, so no, parent should not have the ability to select what traits their children have, either eye color or anything. And the reason I believe that is because what's then the stopping point? When do we just say, oh, well, then if you can do eye color, maybe we want to do height. And one of the benefits of reproduction is not only the surprise, but there's reasons why life has found ways to mix things up.
Do you think it's the parents' decision to make, or do you think the government should have a say in this?
I don't think the government or the people should have a say. I don't think it should be a process, and I don't think the government should say.
Do you believe in the benefits of choosing your child's traits such as eye color, gender, height, or skin color?
Yes, I do. Choosing the traits of a child could be beneficial because it can help the child fit in with society's norms.
Is it right for the government to restrict access to gene editing, or should parents be allowed to make that choice?
I think the parents should be able to choose whether they want to edit the child's genetics makeup.
Here are the results from my research. From the interviews, we got some more insight on the topic of gene editing. Gene editing is undoubtedly really important for scientific research, and when used for health benefits, it is almost never argued against. However, like we saw in interviews, when it comes to editing the genes of a children and selecting traits, people seem to have mixed opinions, which causes a great deal of controversy. People struggle to determine whether editing a child's gene is ethically, morally, or even legally right. Hopefully, after watching this, you're more informed about gene editing, and maybe someday you will decide to edit the genes of your child. Thank you for watching. Gene editing. Should parents be able to choose the traits of their child? Okay, let me stop my share. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. Let me close this. I'd say that my favorite part of the process was, I guess, because it was interesting to me because I learned about genetic editing in my biology class, so I was sort of already informed on it. But researching made me, while researching, I was able to like delve deeper into genetic, the different uses of it and why it's so controversial. And I think that was really interesting to me. Something I learned about myself during the internship was that I guess I'm more creative than I thought, and I should give myself more credit for that because um, I wouldn't really consider myself as a creative person, but I felt like during the internship and given the circumstances we had, I managed to find a way to do things differently. And the most challenging part of this internship was probably the interviews themselves because I wanted to really get like a diverse audience, I guess, or I wanted to diversify like the people I interviewed. So I actually ended up interviewing my biology teacher and one of my friends. So that way it wasn't just two of my friends. So I actually chose someone that has some sort of prior knowledge to gene editing. So I think that was one of the most challenging parts for me. But overall, I really enjoyed the experience. I liked my topic actually. Honestly wasn't going to be my first choice, but ultimately, I think I liked it better than any of the other topics, and I enjoyed this interview or this internship very much.
That's great. Well, I just want to say to both of you, well done. And, I learned a lot still, through this, even though I have some background information on this. And something that everybody else probably doesn't know is you had never used that animation software before. So in addition to researching and contemplating these things and interviewing other people, they were also figuring out, how do I animate it? What does that look like in a video? And putting it together using a new platform that neither of them had ever used before. So all of those things put together, wonderful, well done. Do we have any questions from anybody in the room for Lorenzo or Julian? And I'm not looking at YouTube. I'm not sure if there are any there, but
I am checking YouTube and we don't have any questions, but I do have a question. So I'm curious, what surprised you about this whole experience? Because you're alumni from our summer internship. And so you've worked with us before, you've had a 6-week internship before this. So I'm just curious, from your experience in the summer to coming into this 12-week during the school year internship, what surprised you about this?
I guess one thing that surprised me was being able to have a job, do work, and have school and homework. I think that was kind of a surprise because I thought it would be less of a challenge for me.
It's a lot to juggle. So how do you feel about it now, Lorenzo? You did it.
Honestly, I think I'm glad I got through it. And I think if I were to do something similar again, I'd be more equipped to handle it.
Which is a good feeling. Is it a good feeling to know that you can do it and you could build on it? How
That's
about for
what getting
you?
experience is all about, right? That's what having work experience is all about. Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
How about for you, Julian?
I think the thing that surprised me the most was, I guess, how smooth things ended up going, because given the circumstance that Robin and Nadine weren't able to like actually do the internship with us, we still had a lot of support from all of you guys, and here we are. I mean, we got our things done at the deadline, and it was a really fun process, honestly, and you guys are really supportive. So I guess the most surprising thing was to me was how smooth it actually ended up being at the end.
You stuck with it. So we really appreciate that you being adaptable and flexible with. We did have some, just for everyone to know, we had to make some changes for a number of none of us could control the circumstances. We had mentors who couldn't be mentors, and so our interns stuck with it and were able to still do the project as designed, in addition to learning some new technology. So how long did you have to use Pontoon?
Weeks. Weeks.
So to be applauded, because it was something that you all took on and navigated, and it looked really just, it looked so polished, all of it, and the sound quality and the video and the animation and just your ability to share the information and the interviews that you were able to splice in. So, good job. And it gives you something to build on and share in your portfolios. So congratulations. And then I'm curious, Aleda, you are the co-designer.
She has
Do you
a
have any
question,
questions
actually.
or comments? Are you in a
There's a
space where
question.
you can talk?
She put it in
Yeah,
chat.
I was one of the co-designer leads. Alexis actually had the bigger role in this. I just came in to support with Powtoons, and because I had some prior experience to that. But I put in the chat just like, was it all worthwhile to work and go to school at the same time? I know it's like a big question, but just to throw it out there.
I'd say yes, it is worth it.
Oh, okay. Barb put the second part. She put, and if so, why? And if not, why?
Why? Because, well, one, got paid, and I'd say another thing is, I guess, just all the things that you can learn from taking on a challenge.
Great answer. Yeah, I was just gonna say I did this as well, and it's definitely worth it, I think. And then you actually look more impressive in your resumes when you go to college or anything after that you worked with Harvard. Like just the name itself is a pretty big name. But yeah, awesome job. Congrats.
How about for you, Julian? Was it worth it?
I think it definitely was worth it because, as Lorenzo and Aleda both said, I mean, we're getting paid at the same time as having another work experience. So it's something we could put on our resumes, but it's also something that I think I myself learned a lot from, like personally, not just about the topic that I chose, but just in general and a work experiment or experience. And it was really flexible. So it's not like it took too much out of my day and messed with my school, like too much, because it was really flexible, and I think it was worth it.
Thank you. I'm going to check. Does anyone else have a question?
I have a question for you, Lorenzo and Julian. I'm gonna start my video here. But what did you learn about yourself throughout this process and being part of a group and an internship for the past 12 weeks? So anything that you want to share about either platforms, anything that you learned, a skill that you gained or improved?
I think one thing I learned about myself is that I'm able to adapt, but also if I put my mind to, I'm able to work efficiently and produce something that I can be proud of.
What
Um,
about you, Julian?
I think what I learned was mostly just, I guess this could be applied to like any sort of job or opportunity. It's just whatever you'll get whatever you put into it. So if you really try and you really do take the internship seriously, I think it's really important. Like besides the pay, you're gonna get paid in so much other ways than just money. So I think that's what I learned most especially during this internship. I sort of like got introduced to that during the summer internship, but I think after this internship, it's more noticeable.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
We have a question from Monica in the chat. Will either of you continue to work in this field or industry? What are your plans? Did this affect how you feel about what you're going to do?
For me, I don't think I would focus on genetics because I want to pursue psychology, but as far as like the research skills and things like that, that's what I would be continuing in.
I think genetics, and I want to stay definitely in the science field. I think I really like science, and I think genetics is a really cool topic. DNA and genes, it's really complex, but I think that's what makes it so interesting, because if you understand the way DNA and genes work, you understand a really complex topic, and I think that's something that's really valuable. But personally, I myself, like, I want to go more into the math and science, the STEM field, as opposed to just like a focus like on biology and genetics. Like, I want to be an engineer, but I'd like to learn more about genetics on my own time, or even take classes about genetics in school still, because I still find it really interesting.
I'm just curious, with learning more about genetics, have you shared any of this with family, with friends, or if you could share a little bit about how you have shared this information?
I've shared this with some of my close friends and my family members, actually, because I was sort of going over the questions I had for my interview, and like I was talking to my friend about it, and he was like, "Oh, well, like, why would anyone like argue yes for this?" Because like I tried. It's a controversial topic, and I tried explaining to him. So, and then once I explained to him like the reasons why people like choose the traits of it, and he like understood it more. So it's at the same time I learned something new, but I'm also teaching someone else something new.
How about you, Lorenzo? Any sharings with anyone in your circles?
I haven't shared this project yet with anyone. I think like after this um, showcase, I'll probably share this video with people. But oftentimes when I'm like researching on my own or just learning things in general, I will try to tell somebody, and I can just go on and on explaining it. So that may happen with this.
Well, keep us posted. I'm just so curious. because it's changing so quickly. And it's something that's actually one of the goals of the personal genetics education group, is really to have these conversations, and not necessarily to take a side, but to have the conversation. And so in the spirit of that, of understanding more of the science in order to make informed decisions, it's helpful if we can have conversation. And so what you've done just adds to the conversation. And so we're super excited that you took this on and you now created content that can be shared. And so we will have your blog, if you could put this project on your blog that we will be sharing publicly, that would be really great. So for those of you watching live and later on in the video, we will be sharing this. It's going to be on our bayagroup.com website coming soon. We will be meeting our interns in person because we're very excited to actually meet them. We've been virtual this whole time. We were virtual in the summer. We've been virtual these 12 weeks, but now that things are calming down, fingers crossed, we will see them in a few weeks. And so I'm excited for us to meet you in person. And so, yeah, anything anyone else wants to share or any other questions? All right. Well, so this is our final showcase. We did it. 12 weeks. And now we have this is our final showcase. And I guess my question, I do have one parting question. I mean, the 6 weeks versus the 12 weeks. Do you have any advice for us? What would you say if anyone asks, like, about internships in general, virtual internship?
I think the 12-week one is better. Just having more time to engage with like leaders or just engage with the work that you're doing is better.
Yeah. How about for you, Julian? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I sort of agree. I think the 12-week internship was better just because we were able to do, we had more time to do more research. So as opposed to the 6 week, we had like a shorter timeline from the time that we actually chose our topics and got put into groups. So I think having that extra time just made us able to make a better project and have not only more information, but more like valuable information.
Do you feel like having both, were you able to build off of the 6 week coming into the 12 week? Was that helpful? Or do you think you could just do the 12 week? And I'm just curious.
I think having both was helpful because during the 6 week, like the things that I learned from that, I used during the 12 weeks. So I think having both is useful.
Nice. As you know, we're recruiting for the 6 week. So tell your friends, right? So juniors out there in Downey Unified, apply. Do you have any advice for them who are on the fence? Should they apply? Should they not apply as juniors?
I would say definitely apply.
Will you ask your friends to apply? You have friends who are juniors. I'm going to ask you to go recruit some friends, classmates. All right. Well, I wanted to thank Lorenzo and Julian. Thank you so much for sticking with it. Thank you so much for this group was the most adaptable because we did have some challenges in the beginning. And so we did it. The projects look amazing. You just showcased live on, and now we're gonna, meet you in person in a couple weeks to celebrate. So those of you joining us on YouTube live, thank you so much. Barb and Carmen, Aleda, Monica, our team here at Bay Group, thank you everyone. And so we're closing the school year internship and we will be celebrating in a couple weeks in person. So thanks everybody. We'll see you soon.